Close your eyes. Picture an ideal community, where worth isn't measured with currency, and everyone's contribution holds equal value. Things don't have to be the way they are today. A bright future awaits you with WorldCom Global Interactive. We're working at the forefront of innovation, communication and energy to bring new living experiences to a challenging world. Our recent venture, the Arcology, is completely self-sustaining, blurring the lines between work and leisure. We hope you will come join us for the bright future tomorrow. For more information, email wcinteractive@protonmail.com, and follow WorldCom Global and the Arcology on Twitter. See you in the future.
Here we go. What's up? Sorry to interrupt. It's Hot Takes, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. The internet's vaporwave talk show sensation. Hosted by myself, vaporwave DJ Young Shiro, and the good doctor, vaporwave DJ and musician Skeleton Lipstick.
Hello. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Please keep us in the know about audio levels, if I'm too loud, if Chris or my guest is too quiet, if the music is too loud, etc., etc. Just sound off in the chat. We got some new keyboard reactive sound effects that I'm going to test out, like this one and this one. So let us know if those are too loud or not loud enough. But either way, we've got a wonderful treat for you tonight with an OG to the scene, Persona La Ave, well known in several different scenes, jumping back and forth deftly between the chillwave, the vaporwave, possibly even hypnagogic pop. They say I need to turn you up, Chris.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
you want me to
that's
make it louder on my end, or you got it?
Please do, if you don't mind. Boost yourself
on my end.
Yeah,
okay.
Just a hair.
On.
And while you do that, I'll just say, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow, post, tweet, like.
How's this?
And that works for me if it works for you. I'll adjust accordingly. This is a DIY outfit. Well, I'll take it. Invite a friend, guys. If you like Hot Takes, be loud and proud about it and help us grow the Hot Takes horde. Additionally, as you know, you can follow us on all the social media platforms, and you can tune in on YouTube and podcasting services after every episode for the restreams. We have the, of course, option to donate. Donation is completely optional, and it is very much appreciated. So if you feel so led, all donations get shouted out on stream, and of course, personally noted by myself. You can hit ! Donation. Thank you, Lux. That's not donation, it's donate. ! Donate. If you feel like you want to donate, hey, $1, $5, $10, whatever, we appreciate it. And it all goes to equipment upgrades and commissioning our friends, your friends, for artwork, for ads, for music, whatever, right? Goes back to the community.
Yeah, all goes into that.
All goes back to the community. So I'm going to start off, speaking of community, I'm going to give some recommendations. 3 recs, recent finds. Chris is going to give us our hot take, and we're going to introduce our exciting guest of the night, Persona La Ave. Want to shout out some people who are actually in the chat. I'm going to first start by thanking Luxury Elite for constantly showing me good new music that I otherwise would not find on my own.
She does all the cool shit.
Doesn't she?
She always has.
She's gotten really into the crate digging lately, and she's really good at it. She turned me on yesterday when we were driving to a taco truck. She likes her street tacos, right? And I was like, oh, damn, what is this? Because it is good as shit.
What was it? What was she listening to?
If you have not downloaded the Coast to Coast Collective Volume 1 comp yet, you need to do it. Featuring our friend in chat, Luxury Noise, Simple Syrup, who you have on your shirt right now.
Wearing my
Patch
Simple
Notes,
Syrup shirt
Econo
right now.
Jazz, and somebody else whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Oh, these are all the people I like a lot.
That comp bangs. Thank you, Soft Replica. It really does. I don't know if this is like the new fucking wave of vaporwave, but this early 90s inspired big beat and like breakbeat shit is good. It's real good.
It is, and it's also got a lot of textures to it too. There's also, you can feel a lot of the shoegaze sort of influence in it as well. Oh, I love it. I love it too,
like
because
the Akasha system gone with breaks.
Oh man, I've been waiting for this sort of like music to like be part of the vaporwave world, because I fit in a lot with it too, and I just love all these people that are doing it, and I love the fact that a lot of them seem to really like me a lot too, and I'm like, oh man, that's great. I'm
They're
so
such
pleased.
Great people too.
Yeah,
right?
and I would include people in this little like this whole, soft replica.
Yeah. So if you like
Luxury Noise, Simple Syrup, Van Gogh, all these people, wonderful, A Hero,
If you like good music, and if you like vaporwave or breakbeat, you need to check out Coast to Coast Collective Volume 1, Patch Notes. Thank you for the link, Lux. I'm going to roll into the next recommendation, a chill synth album, kind of along the lines of Hotel Pools and Home of Home Resonance fame.
Hotel Pools?
Yeah, so Hotel Pools has actually done some work with this artist from Bordeaux, France. They go by Allison, and it's A.L.I. etc., right?
I love Allison. They're actually one of my favorites from this sort of style of music. I've played their stuff at Terminally Chill quite a few times.
Good. You have good taste.
One of my favorites.
I'm partial to Hotel Pools and like Flavio Labar, but Allison has got some fire material, and I downloaded it. I bought the album Space Station. Check it out if you like, synthwave meets chillwave and just kind of like a softer, warmer, more warped. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. A warped, warbled kind of like retro tone. Very gentle. That's Allison's Space Station. And finally, we'll round off my recommendations tonight with another kind of left field recommendation by a bubblegum bass artist called Goji. Gogii. I'm going to put that in the chat.
Oh,
Goji makes music. I've actually had a conversation with Vape Error about Goji because it's very, very up-tempo. It's very along the lines of like Wave Racer, old Cosmos Midnight, that kind of stuff that was happening in like 2014 when everybody had the squeaky sound effect in their songs. Check out this album by Goji if you like future trap, kawaii type, future bubblegum bass type shit.
Interesting recommendation
like
by you.
Pitch type stuff. Yeah, man. If you like Donkey Pitch, Lil Texas's old stuff, check out Goji's Dream Download. Bought his album, sent him a message. He messaged me back. That was really cool. And apparently it is co-signed by Vape Error, a friend of the show and previous guest.
Of course. Shout out to Jeffrey, who is moved to New York recently. So I'm very excited that he's close to me again and I can hang out with my buddy.
He moved away from being closer to us. But
I'm sorry.
I can't be jealous. I'm happy for you. But yeah, there's my recommendations. Definitely check those three out, especially that Coast to Coast Collective Volume 1. Because it's your friends. It's our friends. Chris, what do you got for us tonight? What's the hot one?
Okay, let's just talk a little bit about this for a moment. And it's something I think we've even maybe talked about before. But, this kind of leads into our guest tonight, Persona La Ave. The other day I was just going through and reading some interviews with our friend over here. And he was talking about, the progression of your career in art and the progression of your career in general. And he had mentioned something about, people say that in the world of art, sometimes you don't even really hit your stride until you're in your 40s, maybe even your 50s sometimes.
Right.
And it made me think about how a lot of people, when they start off making music and they start producing, there is this big push to make your mark as quick and as strong as possible right away, and to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think that is a tough game to play. And I understand that it's you got to try and make your presence known when you're making it and when you're starting. And I think that it would do well for people to remember that this is all a long game. And particularly if in today, when you're on the internet and you're doing a lot of your music on the internet, you can take your time to unfold things. You know what I mean? You don't have to push so hard all the time, because what might happen if you do that is that you could find yourself being disappointed that you did something that was a big mark and then you tried to push again right after that, and maybe it wasn't as well received, but you might not think it's as well received, but it really is being taken pretty well. But you're just so in this mindset of, if I haven't pushed to the absolute next level and beyond with whatever I do after the thing I did that got some attention, then I'm going to feel like I didn't succeed, or I'm going to feel like my career isn't moving forward. When it's really important to understand that this takes a lifetime, you know what I mean?
Yes, it does.
And that's the whole point of this, is to take your time with it and to unfold a little story, to make your career in art a bit of a narrative, right? And you shouldn't worry about doing things as quickly as you can and putting so much pressure on yourself to do things quickly and to be extremely successful, you can make things and just let them simmer. You know what I mean? You can do things and let them kind of just find people, and that's okay. You know,
make a cult classic.
Yeah, you're gonna burn yourself out if you worry so much about making everything as you know, pushing it as much as possible all the time. You know what I mean? Like, right. I think that happens. I've seen so many artists just sort of like, all right, like after they've done this for a while and they don't see themselves moving as quickly as they imagine themselves should. And and Syllabus, I agree. Syllabus agrees with what I'm saying too, and I think they know a lot about this sort of thing too. You know what I mean? Take your time with it. It's okay. You know, people don't. I think people get worried that they're going to get forgotten about. I think that's the big thing.
Or they're going to age out.
Yeah, or they're not going to know what's going. Yeah, are they going to age out? And like, you're not going to age out. Like, you're not gonna be forgotten. You can come back. You know what I mean? You can take a break. You can come back. You don't have to release your next album as soon as possible.
Right.
You can take some time to do it, and you can be a little easy on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be so tough on yourself if you're not exactly where you think you should be, because, you know, where should you be? You don't even know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have an idea. Like, what is success? What does it look like to you? I don't know. You don't know. It's complicated, and
it's not uncommon for it to take a long time too. Like, you know, I was just talking to Robert Beatty the other night about how long it took him to get like famous and get commissions from Kesha and The Weeknd and One O Tricks Point Never, and it took many years. I'm not going to tell his story, but screaming into the void for years, you know, and then something happens.
See Tuxedo Princess. Yeah, talking about I see Lux mentioning Tuxedo Princess.
Shout out to the boys, Topaz Gang.
Shout out Topaz Gang. Absolutely. Shout out Tom, who I would love to get on the show one time.
Oh yeah.
Because he's one of my favorites. I love that man. I've loved him for several years. I'd love to talk to him. I've hung out with Tom when he came to New York. But that's the thing, is that I've seen a lot of artists just do something and then they do another thing, and then they don't feel like they progressed enough, and then they just like stop doing things.
Yeah.
And because they think that they think that they're not, they didn't achieve what they thought they should achieve, but that's okay. You know, take your time, make your art, do it because you love it. You won't be forgotten if you take a break. If you make something that you don't think is as well received or as as celebrated as you thought it might be in your head, get out of that mindset. Stop worrying about that. I would never put out any music.
Wise words.
All the time. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all, you know, little community. There was room to grow. I mean, there's room to find audience. Let me tell you right now, like, doing anything in this world.
We're losing you a little bit there. Check your connection.
My connection.
Oh wait, no, there you are. You're back.
Am I good? Am I golden grams?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're golden grams.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I'm so happy to hear that.
You roboted for a second.
Yeah, but you know, it's just funny. Like, I don't know, man. I've been doing this for 12 years now, and I go through phases where I'm more popular. I go through phases where I'm less popular.
Right.
It's so weird. It's difficult to predict when all of a sudden people are going to be interested in you and when they're not going to be interested in you. And, you know, just keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding on your production techniques and what you know, and also keep listening to music. Like, I think one of another hot take is that once if you become a little bit successful, or you get a little bit of a following, like, don't get too comfortable with that and don't stop listening to music. One thing I see happen with a lot of more popular artists is that, like, they kind of just like fucking stop listening to like music, unless it's like their own. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't do that.
And like, that's so dumb. Like, don't do that. Like, that's so fucking stupid to be like, oh, all right, I'm doing pretty well. Well, I'm not really gonna. I don't really listen to a lot of, like, you know, this or that, or I don't really like listen to too much that's going on, you know, in my particular scene. And like, why? What the hell?
I
like,
know,
why
right?
would you do that?
Come on.
Why would you do that? You need to. You're popular. You have to absolutely be listening to stuff. Like, look at Lux. Lux is listening to new music all the time.
Oh yeah,
you know
she's super good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I aspire to be like her.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get too comfortable either. Like, continue to listen to new music. continue to keep your references for music relatively fresh. You know what I mean? There's always new sounds out there, and you might think that something or whatever that's going on right now isn't your thing, but there probably is something within that world of music that you might consider not your thing that will speak to you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
keep your mind open.
Yeah, always listen to stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not where you should be, don't worry about it. Let yourself unfold. It's okay. If you are where you should be, don't get too comfortable, and continue to listen to new sounds. Continue to find new things that inspire you. Don't just listen to your own music and like think about what you're gonna do. Think about what other people are doing too, and appreciate it, and see what you can learn from people. Okay.
Let's bring our guest on and see what he has to say about that. Everybody give a warm welcome to longtime OG retro electronic artist Persona La Ave. All right, you're on
Wax
camera.
Is here too.
Hot Wax, what's up? I've been wanting to get Hot Wax on here for a long time. Hey. Persona La Ave, everybody. What do you think about with Skelly?
What's going on? The OG.
You sound great, buddy. You look good too. I wish I had that kind of mustache game, and I know Chris does too. Why don't you tell us what you think about what the good doctor had to say?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with all the sentiment about being an artist. I think that's being an artist in general. I don't know that a lot of people set out their sights and you hit an age and you're like, I'm gonna be an electronic musician. I'm 16. I'm just gonna do this. That happens, but defining your roles, defining your identity, defining your purpose as an artist. That alone takes forever. You pulled that quote from an interview of mine. I feel like I remember doing that a couple of years ago. And
did you quote Persona?
Or
I was.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I think that was a couple years ago around the same time where I was kind of bad off in a bad way in my own personal life, and I was still making music. I was making more ambient stuff at that point in time. I was going through a lot of heavy mental illness stuff, and I was just in bed and on Ableton in my bed making drones rather than engaging in a studio practice. Really financially not doing great. And then it was one random day I was trying to move out of my mom's house, a rock bottom, had to move back into my mom's place. And somebody was just like, hey, you should check out your Spotify numbers. And I was like, I had no idea what they were talking about. It takes me 5 or 6 years to catch up to anything. I said earlier, Discord's pretty fresh for me.
Right.
Sounds crazy. But then I looked at Spotify and I was like, whoa. Going Deaf has a lot of plays for whatever reason, this random song I made.
How validating.
And yeah,
definitely a fan favorite.
And then I had to hit up Sasha from MJ. I was like, hey, is there money? Not to equate, being an artist and artistry with financial gain, but it's just
you gotta
eat. This song was made in 2014 and this was 2018, 2019. I'm an adult in a different place hitting rock bottom, and this song helped me get out of rock bottom. My own song,
Wow.
Something I had forgotten about. And then
it's amazing.
That's when I kind of was oh, I should invest more energy into being an artist and to put spell artist with a capital A and figure out what I need to do on my own time to take this more seriously. And that was still a slow roll. It's still I'm finding new identities as an artist more so now with visual arts and learning After Effects for the past year and trying to elevate
do you do the graphic design that you've been posting recently for the recent album with Baraka?
That's all Andrew Walker.
I got you.
Trafford Court. So I'm at the point now. I used to kind of want to do my own stuff. I always looked up to Com Trues, back in the days. I always heard oh, yeah, he does all of his own. From what I've understood, he does everything.
Yeah. And he told me once in person he doesn't much like working with other people.
I was the same way for forever, and then I started learning that oh, you have to find artists trust to kind of help you
the
get
good
across
doctor
the
has said
finish
that
line.
himself many times.
Oh yeah.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I mean the thing is that I got to a point when I got older. I think a lot of artists sort of come in and they want to do everything, and they want to do the artwork, they want to design the music, they want to master it themselves, they want to do all the components of it. But there comes to a point where I realize that there are some things that I don't enjoy doing as much. Like I don't enjoy doing the covers for my albums or my singles or whatever. It's just not who I am. And could I learn to do it if I wanted to? I'm sure we can all learn to do everything that if we wanted to, but why? I want to invest my energy into the things that I enjoy and the things that I feel comfortable with and the things I want to get better at. And we only have so much time and so much energy. So it's what you said. I prefer to find the artist I trust and to work with them because they're the experts. You know what I mean? They're experts at it. They can translate ideas that I have, or they have their own ideas that they come from what they see or the content I give them. And, I almost like not doing everything myself now, and I like everything being a little bit more collaborative in that effort. I don't know. You have thoughts?
The same sort of like tide change for me, and now it's like become like Christmas. Like you send off the commission to your homie, you work out like down payment deposit, and like send some references. Get a Pinterest board going. I love Pinterest, by the way. I don't know if anybody still uses Pinterest, but like
shout out Pinterest.
Amazing resource. And then like month goes by, a couple months go by, you follow that homie on Instagram, they're like on vacation, they're at weddings and stuff. You're just kind of like, all right, they're living, whatever. And then like one day you get that email and it's like, oh, what is this? It's like, got your album artwork going. It's like, oh, you nailed it.
Nice.
You crushed it.
Nice.
That's always a great feeling. Yeah, so we worked with Andrew from Stratford Court.
Well, Andrew's a genius.
Yeah, his graphic design is absolute heat. Supposedly he's super chill dude too.
Right.
That's what Hotel Pools told us. Super like California surfer guy.
Yeah, very very much so. And that's like knowing him for a while. Like I guess I was specifically talking about him when I referenced like, oh yeah, he's on a surf trip. And it's like, nah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's his process. He's out there like, and I'm the same way. Like I'll get commissioned for something. Like, what's the deadline? Oh, like 3 months from now. I was like, I'll get it to you the day of the deadline usually.
Right.
Like, it's like, I want to live and like, experience life, and I know how much time it will take to do a project. I'm not gonna. I was always like a procrastinator in school, like any projects like that. But yeah, artistry, it takes a while. And it might be a slow process, but yeah, patience is the name of the game. And I think a part of me thinks, if you go into it with the hope that you'll post your mix, but as soon as you get done finishing it and it gets picked up by whoever, like Post Malone style, and then you're celebrity in a week.
Right.
If you go into it, if you get into the process with that mentality, you'll probably get, your feelings hurt and, disappointment most of the time, like 99% of the time. But if you go into it just like, I want to make something for myself. I want I know a lot of the artists here in this community probably share this same idea that like, I want to make music that I want to listen to.
Yeah, buddy.
Like I want more of like what's going on, and I can't quite find this specific thing right now. So I'm just gonna make it. Like
love it.
I feel like we'll keep name dropping Lux, but like they seem like that type of person, Like it's like, oh, I just want to hear more of this, but like
absolutely
recontextualize a little bit.
Fortune 500 was absolutely what that was all about. She mentioned in her episode with us. And you're absolutely right, man. It's a lot of people in this scene, and I can't speak because I'm not an artist. I just DJ. But a lot of people in the scene get kind of upset when they don't blow up overnight, and it's like, man, you don't understand. A lot of people screamed into the void for 5 years before anybody noticed them, and they started, blowing up, or as it were, in our scene. If you don't mind me asking, how long did it take before you started getting like some momentum?
Well, like I said, I didn't even notice any momentum happening until like 2018. And
wow,
like backtrack. I was like, I guess, like a young wonderkind pre-vaporwave, still like meandering through chillwave identities and like genre.
So you were actually, there in that magical era.
Can we go back for a second, actually? And you mentioned being like a bit of a young wonderkind with music and making music. When did you start making music? If I remember correctly, from what I think you made music. You started like when you were very young making music. Is this correct? You learned instruments at a very young age.
Persona La Ave was a translation from a like person and the bird. I just threw that into like Google Latin or something
in the
like
bird.
That. And it was 4 words, and I had to subtract a word because I'm like a uber fan of Toro y Moi. Like,
phenomenal. Dude, that was my introduction to chillwave right there. Sick.
So like, Chaz was from Columbia, South Carolina. I'm from Florence, South Carolina, and like our bands would like the bands I were in Florence, and like we would tour to Columbia, or like call it tour. We just go to Columbia, but and he was like. Pausers had come out. Under the Pine was like still being worked on, but like I would like go see them play out like on stuff live and like work it out.
You remember when it was just him and a keyboard, don't you?
Right, yeah. And like Ernest was still living in South Carolina, like Washed Out was still around in South Carolina. Like South Carolina was chillwave capital of like the country, and then like Neon Indian out in Texas. And,
Austin, baby.
But I think like just being so close to that, and it was like 2009. That Washed Out EP came out and just broke the genre into the stratosphere.
It was that summer, Ben.
I was in a band. I was playing guitar in a band, and I remember my drummer coming home from a gig in Columbia or wherever, Charleston maybe, and we were listening to that. I was like, I found this music. Like up till then, we were listening to like Phoenix and like
the
that's exactly right.
Passion Pit, Mike Snow.
So, I want to just pause for 1 second. It's like I was listening to that too. I think we all the early guys were listening to that.
Islands.
And the thing about that oh god, I did not like Future Islands. That was like one of the bands I heard because I thought that was so fucking like overwrought.
That's like a different genre. That was like
but it was like getting like force fed to me. It was this fucking overwrought like Bono sounding bullshit, and like I was just like, what the fuck? And it was also like those bands, and I loved listening to Passion Pit, and I loved listening to Phoenix, but it's like that was like so unattainable. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the fucking
they had, like,
studio.
I
don't fucking have Phil Zadar to like fucking produce my album the way Phoenix did. Like I don't have that fucking like wealthy French money that they have.
Vampire Weekend.
I don't have that fucking Vampire Weekend money, man. Like I don't have that pitchfork momentum. You know what I mean? Like I don't have all that. Like what is something that I can, so you have to like use your instrumentation, and you have to use the idea of texture and producing things in a different way because you don't have the $1 million studio. So you listen to like Phoenix, you listen to like what, the newer Passion Pit album, not the EP they came out, which did seem kind of attainable, but like, or fucking Future Islands or some shit like that. And you're like, I can't do that in my fucking room.
Right.
I can't replicate that. I have to think outside the box. Well, what else can I look at? And then that Washed Out EP comes out, right?
Recession era music, man. All made in the bedroom on a laptop.
Recession era music. It's interesting. Right. You're right.
I remember seeing some like interview with him in like his bedroom studio that was like his mom's house, and it was like mostly like an RC50 like Boss looper that he was like loading up samples onto and manipulating and then just singing over, and like that's how he made a lot of that. Because like that song, God, I can't even remember the name of the song, the fucking Portlandia song, whatever.
Feel It All Around.
Yeah, that's like Gary Lowe or like some Italo guy, just straight up, just slowed down like with like the 33.5 or 33 1/3 like button on like Audacity or whatever. But I don't know, that hit so hard. That whole EP was so good, and
you talking about the one? I can't remember what the name is. The girls like in the water, looking to the left.
Yeah,
it's all purple.
Yeah, like the purple hue.
That EP was the shit. So good.
Yeah, and but then the same thing. I was in the van listening to it with my band, and I heard that, and I was like, wait, I might have to quit this band so I can go do this. Like, and that's what happened. Like,
life of leisure. Thanks, Lux.
I'm still very much friends with all those guys in that band.
That's sick.
Do you guys hear?
We ended up being in different bands. They play
I hear you.
PLA live band a bunch too. Yeah, so that became super attainable. That was like 2009, right?
Yeah, 2009, 2010.
2009, yeah.
I was at that point playing in a lot of different bands. I was in a metal band in high school.
Oh, that's too cool. What did you play?
I played bass in that band, and then I ended up playing guitar. Just because, like, you're in a high school metal band, there's going to be a lot of fighting and a lot of... That's what the whole scene was then. It was very aggro. But got out of that, got into an indie band, and then 2009, chillwave broke. And then I made a lot of music under Person in the Bird.
Person in the Bird.
Yeah, and like if you go down to like a lot of my self-release like Spotify, that's like my label name at the copyright section. But so that was me and one of my best friends growing up, my friend Andrew, and he was like one of the first people. He was a bit older than I was. He was one of the first people to like be like, you're really good at music and you should do music. And we had become like estranged after a while, and I kept making songs to put them on like MySpace under Person in the Bird. There's a song on the first Persona La Ave tape that Triple U Tapes put out, which that was like Ian. What was his last name? Ian something. Friendship Bracelet was the blog he ran. But yeah, he put out my stuff. He just found one of my songs in MySpace and started, hey, I want to put out a tape. And I was like, what are you talking about? I guess I need to write more music for this tape. So I was working on a song called Backroads. It's on that same tape. And I get a call from one of my friends. And you know, sometimes you get a phone call and like it's like vibrating and you're like, that's got a weird vibe to it. That call's got a weird thing to it.
Right.
There's some kind of energy, yeah.
And you pick up the phone and my friend's like, hey, Andrew just died. Or he died last night.
Oh my God.
That is rough.
Funeral's Saturday. I'll pick you up. This whole thing. I hang up the phone and I'm just like, well, I guess I gotta finish this song.
Yeah.
And then that's like, yeah, I was 17 then, so I, smoking a lot of weed at the time.
Yeah.
Had kind of given up on school, and then was pretty much like, well, I'm gonna keep doing this, but I have to change the band name, I guess, because it's not our band anymore. So I just put it into Google Translate. That's how my band name came out. And
love that backstory. I always wondered.
Yeah, that's the origin, and of course I was like, Tori Memoir's fucking awesome. I want to have like a cool, also Googleable. That was
like
where
a
my mind
three-word
was.
sort of foreign name.
Yeah, and like if you type that series of words in, only my band will pop up.
No
That's
katakana
like
in the name.
That's what my 17-year-old brain was thinking. Yeah. Like even if you look it up on the internet, anything that's not my band, it's like Mexican air travel, something like that. You know,
really
Ave is like air or like bird or something. Yeah. So you kind of backtrack on the whole conversation. When that was all happening, a lot of like homies were like, or current homies were like, adults kind of like, whoa, who is this 17-year-old kid making a tape on this random DIY label and like getting it put out, and like had like a little bit of like, I don't even know how I would have gauged success back then, because there were far less analytical statistics available to you, like Spotify streams or like anything like that. It was just like, oh, like
did a blog pick you up?
Yeah, like blogs and like
that was
Vader
kind
just,
of
like put up one of my EPs from SoundCloud, just like a SoundCloud link, and like that was it. No release, no labels.
Were you getting hella
like
free downloads?
Yeah, just like the
Miss
whole
those
like
days.
just SoundCloud kind of being all you cared about as far as like releasing stuff. And then Bandcamp came around that same time as well. Like 2010 or something like that. But
right.
Yeah, then like to like talk about what Chris was saying, like you age out of it, and you're like, I was like, oh, I'm 17, I'm 18, I'm 19, I'm 20, and then like, oh, I'm 22, 23, and like still just kind of barely grinding,
so old.
and like, yeah, nothing's happening. Like I'm not like the new kid on the block anymore. And,
right.
And then, yeah, just like sitting in. I moved to. So it was like, 2010. At that point, the family home I grew up in Florence, South Carolina, was foreclosed on. Same little like housing crisis era, like the Big Short type deal. My dad walks into my room, brings me lunch, and is like, "Hey, you gotta find somewhere else to live." The bank, foreclosed on our house.
That's rough,
like,
man.
What?
Oh.
What are you talking about?
What an intense reality to be sort of confronted with.
How old were you?
Yeah, it was
again?
that was 17 when that happened.
How did you feel when that was said to you?
I had graduated high school for I've been graduated for like a year, so I was like 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Then I just posted on Facebook. Well, I guess even before this, right after I graduated high school, through MySpace, I met some people out west, like LA-ish area. Ended up going out there for like a summer, linking up with like band Gobble Gobble, toured with them. That ends up being Purity Ring. They were in that band at the time.
Yeah, you were
if
mentioning
you look up
that
Gobble
before
Gobble,
the show started.
Yeah, we chatted about that before the show.
It's all like it's Purity Ring in like crazy costumes, which they still retain that theatrical bit.
I just saw Purity Ring this weekend. They still do that.
Oh yeah, I saw that shit. Like a giant dress.
Who did they get that from?
This guy
Cecil.
Cecil.
Who is this?
I think he goes by CJ now.
Okay.
Last I heard, he was engaged or married to the lady in Purity Ring.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was out there just like touring around with them, and then met Teen Days, Blackbird.
Oh yeah, Teen Days is super cool. He's still making music.
Oh yeah, Blackbird too, but like not as frequently as J-Mo. And we kind of toured up and down California, and then I toured back to South Carolina from there, ended up being like stuck in South Carolina. And then the foreclosure happened.
Can I ask a really quick question?
I just
what did
posted on
Gobble
Facebook,
sound like?
Early Facebook, just like, hey, does anybody have a place for me to stay? This guy in Knoxville, Tennessee was like the first person to reply. I was like, I got a bedroom for you. Come here and like make music with me. That was Brandon Biondo of at that time it was in a band called Cool Runnings, and he had made solo stuff.
Shout out Cool Runnings.
Oh, I remember
Walsh.
Cool Runnings.
If you don't know the Walsh stuff, the early WALSH, great stuff. It put out Team's first EP on their like Bandcamp label, Jackula Horse. A lot of good stuff on that. I think I haven't talked to that guy in so long, but I think he's kind of like
so many solid OGs right there. Teams, Blackbird, Teen Days. Teen Days is still making music, and he has got a lo-fi house side project called Pacific Coliseum.
I love.
Have you heard Pacific Coliseum? It's good.
Oh
right?
yeah,
real good.
There's one song I heard that I just ripped off. It was just like a pretty basic like
very body song.
But I was like, I love this tempo and I love these two chords and I want to do this.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
An unreleased song, but being out there with those guys like when I was like 18, just kind of like slumming it DIY style, like touring. It was rough. I don't remember getting paid. Like I was like young enough for like I didn't even care about money yet. Like I was just like going out there hanging out,
just trying to eat and have a good time.
I gotta.
I was like underage in these clubs and just like, so, oh yeah, you're playing. Here's beer tickets. You're like, okay, cool.
Wow,
like,
this is
just
such
happy
a
to like sneak some beer around.
Yeah,
but,
this is such a formative moment
then,
to be doing this at such a young age.
Back where we were, like I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, all of a sudden with this, much older dude who had like all this awesome like synth gear and showed me how to use Ableton pretty like properly, and just kind of like pushed each other. We were like in a lot of the same bands at that time as well. He I mean, I hope he's still making music, because he was a fucking genius. He was always like a troubled individual as well. Feeling himself, we were talking about earlier, just like burnout and just like, oh, I feel like I deserve more credit than what I've been getting on these releases. Like I work really hard on this EP and then like nobody listens to it. It's
right.
It's really easy to kind of like, become self-deprecating when you feel like you're not being validated as an artist when you put a lot of energy into it. Even you earlier, you were like, I'm not an artist, I'm just a DJ. I was like, nah, man, like.
Yeah, I heard him say that too, and I heard him say that too, and like I tell Isaac this all the time.
I DJ a lot too, but I hardly even like mix stuff. I find myself in the more like selector realm.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm obsessed with the perfect blend, but I don't mix on wax, so
Right. Yeah, I tried doing that, and that's kind of like, that's how I started doing like DJ stuff, and that's what got me into like I can't beat match. I'm not even gonna try. So I'm just gonna,
doing it by ear is super hard.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how like Pacific Plaza and Chris and everybody does it.
I only do it by ear
it's
because
super
it's just
impressive.
It's easier than doing it by those little lines.
It's always blown my mind to see people do that.
Persona, can you hear Chris?
Am I being, can you guys hear me at all? Oh, fuck,
I hear you
really?
just fine, Chris.
Okay.
And you're coming through. Your audio is coming through, but you can't hear him, Persona.
So do you
I can only
hear me?
see them on the Twitch page, but they're not on the Discord live stream chat.
Oh, that's super weird.
They're on the Discord. I'm not on Discord. You don't see me moving around.
Video and stuff.
You can't see or hear Dr. Chris.
You can't hear me?
No, that's wild.
Oh fuck.
I did tell you that it was okay to talk over him yesterday, but I was like, "Damn, you're doing a great job."
All right, hold on.
Do you want to? Yeah, you want to relaunch Discord, Chris? Maybe.
I'm gonna relaunch. You guys keep talking.
Oh my god, I heard Lux laughing from the other room. Okay, so that's wild. While Chris relaunches, I've just got to ask.
Hold on a second.
You know how to jump out of the call and jump back in?
Yeah, I got it. Give me a minute.
You got this.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Chris. You're fine. What's weird is his audio is coming through just fine to me, and it's coming through the stream too. I'm getting signal from him, but you can't hear him. So.
Yeah, you're crystal clear. Yeah,
Chris, you want to
gray screen?
I'm doing it.
That's weird. Well, I'm sure a quick reboot will fix that. Quick question for you, man. You mentioned album artwork earlier. Well, you didn't specifically mention album artwork, but you mentioned things like, being in control of your image and all of the aspects of your product. How important is album artwork, not just for your own releases, but for like a release you might want to consume? How big of a factor is a good cover to you?
I think it is the factor.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
And it took me a long time to realize that. One of the biggest sort of I want to say like, I don't know, like upsets in my like career thus far is like putting out a release of music and not really spending enough time on the album artwork and looking back on it like, oh, I wish we would have done a different like. But yeah, for me, like now as more like of a concentrated visual artist, like on par with my like musical artistic career, I think of it as like when you go crate digging, you're gonna pick up that album that looks fucking sick and like nothing about it. True. That's gonna get you excited, and then you go put it on and the music matches it and follows the vibe, and it's like, oh, this is completely well thought out.
All right, does everybody hear me? Does everybody hear me right now?
I found like Jeff Lorber that way. If I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm sure people in the chat will
love Jeff Lorber. I've only scratched the surface with his work, but
it's that one album that looks like just neon lines and stuff.
Damn.
Even like around that same time, like in our like current community, is like 2009. I got into Jeff Lorber from that album. Fucking Games.
Oh,
remember
man.
that
project,
yes,
dude?
Yes.
Gordon Lopatin, yes.
We talk about that. All right.
Dude,
Wait.
Like that,
can you
that one Games
does
album.
Persona hear me at all right now?
You still can't hear Chris, can you?
You still can't hear me?
He's just a wheel, yeah.
Oh,
everyone else
weird.
can hear me except you.
Did you reboot Discord, Chris, or did you just hang up the call and jump back in?
I turned it off and turned it back on. Everybody else can hear me. You can hear me. The chat can hear me. It's just Persona.
This is a new one.
Am I going to have to ask you to ask Persona questions for me?
That'd be a fun dynamic. I have to ask your questions for you.
I just wish I could. You could tell him I'm getting very excited about him talking about
he's
games
getting super
right now.
excited about games because we
games,
both love
about games.
You know,
I
we
can
both
hop
love
off.
Lopatin.
Why don't we have
do you
Persona
mind?
hop off for a second?
Hop off the
and
call
back
and
on,
jump back in.
Apparently everyone else can hear me.
Okay, so
I really feel bad that I can't join in the adulation of the games EPs. Like I love them so much, and I'm like,
wait a minute. There's more than
EPs.
one.
Well,
there were some singles
there's
and
games
shit.
we can play, and then there's the one with them.
Play,
with the
okay, you're back.
The two hands holding the thing. You know,
do you hear
the memory
Chris now?
card for the. You hear me now? You hear me now?
Oh yeah, that was a single.
Oh yeah, that was a single. That's right.
Thank you for doing that.
We're back.
Persona.
Nice. You were talking about games, and I was like, oh no, I really want to join in on this discussion. I love
we
that
both
EP.
love
that EP
Daniel Lopatin.
I love When Tricks Play Never in general. That's like my favorite artist. A lot of people in this scene's favorite artist. But yeah, that
Ford
games
is really
EP
skilled
in particular.
too. I mean, as
I love
his project, and
he also does the production
Tiger
for Young
City.
Ejecta. And he does the production for Young Ejecta as well.
Really, I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting.
He does, absolutely. But yeah, we love games. We talk about games pretty frequently. That album is absolutely the EP is mind blowing, and it really just like I love the fact that it was a lot of combinations of synthesizer and samples too. Do you know what I mean? So I was like,
it was masterfully interwoven,
and that's like kind of like that really was inspiring to me about like I like the idea of because I'm a synth guy as well. Like I have a bunch of synthesizers around here next to me. But I also enjoy the textures of using samples, you know what I mean? And that was a nice marriage of those two things.
It was indeed. Kind of reminds me of Dreams West. I mean, I mentioned this in the last episode, how James would just take, I don't know if he goes by James. Dreams West would take a song, right? You know, and then would flip it and add extra like synth melodies to it. Which, no shade against any vaporwave producers anywhere, but y'all got to do some more of that. That was cool.
Oh, okay. So hold on. I really wanted to ask you, and I couldn't ask you at the time because you clearly weren't hearing me. But like, I think it's a very interesting thing for you that you kind of went from high school and then jumped right into this world of like these DIY artists and touring with them at the age of 18, and that's an extremely formative thing, and that's going to like kind of like set you on a path for the rest of your life after you experience something like that at such a young age. And I mean, it's almost overwhelming. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to go in and to just go straight from high school to holy shit, like I'm on the road with all these artists and living this lifestyle. And I mean, did that set a tone for the rest of the way that you were going to maybe continue your life,
really damn
your
good
career?
Question.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how did that feel?
I've been in. I mean, that was it. I've been in bands. I've been in touring bands for most of my life since then. I was, up until like a couple weeks ago, I played piano and keyboards in a touring Americana band called Susto.
Sick.
Wow.
We did that for like 2 years. And
you're all in with this lifestyle.
There's a lot of photos of you out there with a cowboy hat. I imagine that's kind of probably what you put on when you do the Americana shows.
Right. And like
it's a good look.
The cowboy hat was like coinciding with like the surfer girl stuff of PLA as well. Like,
nice.
PLA operates now as more of like a personal record label. We'll get to put out PLA Baraka sort of stuff. PLA, like I'll put like the Fretless Friday stuff on an album eventually. Then like PLA like live operates more like a traditional band with like keyboards, guitars, drums, and whatnot. And then I can also DJ and then like solo stuff.
Sick.
That's a lot of different avenues inside of the band Persona. You know, it's alter egos and whatnot. But yeah, I've always been a touring musician, and then around that, find opportunities to be multimedia artists. Like
you do a lot of photography.
Damn, you do
too.
it all.
Yeah, I
damn that too.
He does a lot of photography. Yeah.
I got into like 35mm film cameras like a few years ago, just
Unreal.
because like.
What doesn't he do?
That was like, yeah, that was before the pandemic. That was 2017. But that was
so during the lockdown era. You were like, oh, there's nothing else new to learn.
Well, the lockdown era, I got into editing like videos more, which I had done, but like I like focused on it. Like I put out a haphazard album just to make a music video for every song.
Very cool.
But it was just like ripping YouTube videos and recontextualizing them. But yeah, it's like you find necessities, and that was the point in my life where like I was more of the artist that like didn't trust anybody to do anything. I was doing everything myself, and I got tired of like paying people that I didn't quite trust money to get artwork, and then they gave me like a product that like I didn't like, but I couldn't quite explain why I didn't like it because I didn't have any reference.
It's very difficult, yeah.
So then I just started like thinking like, well, I have to learn photography, I have to learn composition, I have to learn all of this, and then
that's a bit much too. Like that's almost overwhelming. You know,
yeah, it is.
Like,
Jesus.
And I've had this experience before too, when like I've had like artists that have made things for me, and like it wasn't what I wanted, but I can't communicate that feeling of what I need because how am I supposed to put my brain inside their body so they can connect and see what I'm talking about? They could be extremely talented too sometimes, but there's that disconnect. Like you almost wish like, oh my God, can you just read my imagination for 1 minute? Because I don't know how to put it into words. You got to work hard to find people that understand the same vision as you. And
was it
really
with like art,
when they
visual art that this experience happened? Well,
Me,
both
it's
of you
always
guys.
with, like,
Was it mostly visual art?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now,
Gotcha.
fortunately, I've since then found so many wonderful artists to work with, but it's like it's scary, and then you're like, right, do I have to learn all this too? And it's stressful.
Fuck.
You know.
It coincides now with like you have a lot more resources to quickly learn all these new skill sets, like Blender. You know, like.
Oh, did you make the donut?
Oh yeah, my donut ended up looking like a monster's like anus, kind of. Was just like
heard it on Hot Takes.
When I went to like put the sprinkles on, I was like, these aren't sprinkles, these are moles. Like, it's very gross.
Delicious.
My goodness.
But yeah, then like I got into Blender, I was like, I can't put a whole lot of time into this. Like I wanted to make like like FM Skyline like autograph.
Oh yeah,
FM Skyline.
Shout out to FM Skyline and
Love
autograph.
those guys. They both been on.
Yeah,
the
they
show.
both do that, right? Like
they do.
Probably.
Yeah, they
They're
do.
both fucking
Autograph
geniuses.
is crazy with it.
Right.
He does it a lot. Shout out to they're both previous guests on the show actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love both of their work, across the board, and I think just like similar vibes, like like you kind of ebb and flow of like the process, and like I have more energy as a visual artist if I'm not making my own visual work. That being said, I just posted a really cool thing on my Instagram that I'm super stoked on.
I saw that, and it was super fucking cool. Did you make that?
Yeah, that's all After Effects.
Bitch, that was super cool. Y'all got to go check it out.
After Effects is like my baby right now, but like everything up until this point has informed my knowledge and my skill set to get to be able to like understand After Effects and know how to use it to make
you for the link, Lux.
Cool 70s looking animations that look hand drawn inside of Adobe Cloud software,
We got our first chat question. Syllabus wants to know what your favorite film stocks are.
Oh, interesting question. I think are they speaking like 35mm like still photography stuff? Right now, honestly, it's
not
whatever
really
you
sure.
can
Also,
whatever you can
put that
buy, whatever
question
you
that you
can
asked
afford.
earlier
That's
one more time,
It's all
Syllabus.
expensive shit. I think I know what they're saying.
Yeah. They say 35 millimeter.
Nowadays, like everything's kind of like on an even playing field in terms of like quality and like price point. Like
word good.
If I know what project I'm doing, like if I'm gonna be outside working landscapes, that's gonna be like Ektar 100 or like Kodak Golds come back around at like cheaper prices. Portrait is insanely priced right now. Cinestill T800, I'll use that for nighttime or studio portraits, just like something with a higher ISO. Like I'll end up talking about this shit all fucking.
Well, who took the picture of you that you sent me for the still? Or what is that? What film?
Oh, that was from a photo shoot with my partner.
Let me flash that back up real quick.
We do more like erotic photography together. Make cool. Pornography.
Really?
Hell yeah.
We do OnlyFans stuff.
Oh, how fun!
It's a lot of fun.
Sub to Persona La Ave's OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Special 20%
oh my gosh,
discount.
that's so fun, and that's adorable that you guys do that together. I'm a bit of a pervert myself, so I appreciate that, my friend.
It's great, and I mean,
I do that sort of stuff with my partner a little bit.
Hey man, I mean,
fun.
We ain't getting any richer, right? Why not?
Well, I mean, I don't actually do an OnlyFans, but we do a lot of like just for fun stuff like that.
It's great and it's productive and
you get to be artistic about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's like an artistic project.
Oh shit! They posted it. Nice.
Oh my god, this is great. I'm very much enjoying this conversation. By the way, you're a fascinating person, my friend. I love it.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. This was a great idea.
Yeah, likewise. This is a lot of fun. I might need to grab another beer in a second. But
yeah, I have to grab some water. You guys continue talking. I'm gonna be back in.
I guess we all need to take turns grabbing a drink. Do you mind waiting a minute while the doc gets his?
I'm going first.
Yeah.
Let them go first.
Let him get his drink. Then you can go, and then I'll go. While we wait on that, you mentioned album. You just mentioned artwork being really, really important, and you mentioned the Jeff Lorber album. I'm still waiting on Lux to post a link to a picture of that album cover, by the way.
It's the one with like all just like the neon lines. It looks like a room or a studio just like shot in like neon. It's like some like Robert Abel or Abel looking stuff.
Gotcha.
If anybody knows who that is.
Can you shout out some other album covers that you think are just like extremely memorable or just some of your other favorites?
I used to have a rule whenever I was crate digging. If the album has a woman's ass on it, like in full featured, just an ass, you got to buy it. Especially if it's in the dollar bin. Like there's probably going to be a track on there that's going to be awesome. Son.
You heard it on Hot Takes.
And then, you know, like, I mean, if you look at like the artistic style of like vaporwave or anything informed by Robert or like Keith.
Yeah, Keith and Robert absolutely are the goats when it comes to that.
Their line of influences, and you'll get into Roger Dean, Michael English, and then even Mobius, of course. And then you see anything that relates to that vibe on a 12-inch, 12 by 12 piece of artwork that has a vinyl wax at it.
That has a woman's ass on it.
That too, you know. But like, it's just, it takes a while to figure out what you like without putting it into like words or like reference points. Thank you. Okay.
Oh man, they brought you a drink?
Yeah.
They're the shit.
Yeah, they're the shit. But yeah, they're in the other room, like tuned in.
We're halfway done, I promise.
No, that's great. So like it takes a while to like put a name to a face kind of thing, but like it's the airbrush. It's the 80s, it's the late 70s, early 80s airbrush
I love
style.
that
if you
look
see anything
too,
like
man.
that.
What are your have you seen the I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Very fine. Like there'll be deceptions, like you'll pick up like the Herb Alpert record with like the whipped cream or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fucking fire. And it is to a certain degree. But then you're like, wait, this isn't quite what I wanted it to be. But,
right.
Yeah, and there's like just so much fucking music out there. And it's hard to like think if like, all right, this album might have like some bangers on it, but it's just like a bare like warm tone kind of thing.
If ever I see an album that has a piece by Andrew Walker, I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, and
that guy's awesome. I can't believe he's still. I love that he's been doing this for so long.
Right,
they're so consistent. And he does such a good job running Stratford Court, and I love it.
They have a very succinct style. It's like a musician, like like the Cop Out kind of vibe is like you hear a specific guitar player play two notes, and you're like, oh, that's so and so, that's Jimmy Page or whoever, some classic rock guy or some shit. But Andrew's got like same with like Lunitas.
I love Lunitas' pieces too. We've had Lunitas on the show.
We've had Lunitas on the show before as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
We love big fan of them. We love Lunitas.
They did
on the show. Previous guest, yes.
My Pet Flamingo put out or pressed for the first time Relation Temptation. I commissioned them for that, and it's just like
you made a good choice.
The most beautiful album.
I was gonna ask you if your logo in Discord was a Lunitas piece because it sure looks like one.
Yeah, that's the center.
That's the center of
sticker.
Very cool.
We referenced some Prince stuff because Prince used to put eyeballs on those center labels on all of his records, especially like 1999, I think.
Since your partner was cool and brought you a drink, I'm gonna take my drink break now. You should tell Chris what you just told me about album artwork.
Well,
because he would love it. Yeah, he would love what you said.
Can we do a little repeat really quick?
I suppose, just like not like when you're like a kid or like a young adult crate digging, like what type of album artwork like speaks to you. It's hard to like really put that into words. It's hard to put like a name to a face until like you start really like researching it and digging in. But for me, it's always been like airbrushed kind of style that has made popular these days by like Keith and Robert and folks
Keith,
like that. And
we love Keith. Another previous guest on the show, Keith Rankin. We love him. He's done album artwork for me before too.
I gotta watch the back catalog of the show because it sounds awesome.
Pretty much like all the homies. There's so many people you mentioned, like, oh yeah, they've been on before. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, it's an interesting thing discovering album artwork and discovering music because it's all a process of discovering your own personal taste. You know what I mean? It informs you of who you are as an artist. The more that you start to narrow down what the things that appeal to you are. I mean, we all love to experiment and we all like to step outside the box and find things that we didn't know we would like. But it's really interesting to find things that we absolutely know we like. You know what I mean?
Right.
That helps us become who we are, you know?
To speak on that kind of idea of like curation.
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
Go on.
Who is the moderator or editor for the Vaporwave Spotify playlist?
Oh,
is
shit.
It one person?
No fucking clue, man.
It's got to be a homie. It's got to be somebody who like has their finger on the pulse, right? Like,
well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know either. I mean, I know you're on it. I got a song or two on it as well. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they find. I never submitted anything to it before either.
Just Google Vaporwave and see what comes up.
So I've never submitted anything to it, but I have a song or two on it. So somebody must know something. I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be somebody. I've always like the theory is like I think it's Lux. I think
no, it's not Lux. It was
Did
Lux.
you ever like set out to make Vaporwave, or is it just kind of incidental that happened?
Well, the newest album with Baraka, it's called Vapor. You know, we were like, all right,
true.
like
I was just listening to that.
Lean into it. Fuck
it. Let's make a concept album of like what we know how to do in this genre. And
what Vaporwave is to you.
A lot of right. We lean more in like the vapor funk kind of end, or like
I do fuck with some vapor funk, like not so much like the sped up
tempo
city pop, but more like the kind of like the slowed down 80s R&B shit.
Once again, like I always take the most liberal definition of vaporwave, and like I interpret it as a genre to be interpreted by whoever's making it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a feel and there's a vibe, and you can get I understand the idea of the people who are very specific about what their definition of it is, and it is fully sample based, and it is a valid way to define it. And but I don't think you have to do it that way. I think that I think that's the beauty of vaporwave, is that you don't have to. And it's like, I like your definition. I was listening to that album actually a couple weeks ago, and it's really fantastic album. And I love all your collaborations with Baraka. This one is probably my favorite, though. Like, I really enjoyed the album, like, all the way through. I mean, I enjoy all the albums all the way through. This one, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, interesting mystery going on inside of it. There's a lot of, I feel very transported when I'm listening to it. And you kind of just sort of fall through it as the whole album plays.
I'd say a lot of that, and again, this is the importance of album artwork, that first just glimpse at colors, the composition of what that album artwork is, that sets the tone for everything, you know.
Yeah,
and we
totally does.
We told Andrew, like green and purple. That's what we're playing. That's what we're seeing. You know.
That's cool.
Space, astral projection. Like these were like all the concepts that we were playing around with, and then we had like a lot of songs in the mix for the album. We always track like 22, 24 songs.
Wow.
And then whittle it down. When he
got
sent
some extra stuff for the Patreon.
Yeah. When he sent the album artwork back, we were like, oh, this is what the album is now. And then we started
amazing
editing into the album artwork.
Amazing.
So I think the sense of like transportation and like visualization, like it has to happen within 10 seconds of you even like seeing it before you even hear it. And artists I've found recently, a lot of people might think I'm an old man for like bringing this up. Macro Blank, I'm not sure.
Okay,
like,
yeah, the Barber Beats
Macro
artist.
Blank, the Barber Beats artist.
That album artwork is always
their album artwork is so
it's unbelievably
evocative. That was how I when I saw it for the first time, and I had to stop for a minute, and I was like, oh, okay, well,
those guys can really put some album artwork together.
Good for them.
Can't wait to see the
like,
Syllabus Barber Beats album artwork.
That they're more on like they're like pro graphic designers, and they kind of put some beats together, and they're just so prolific, you know. It's just like, and then it's crazy how like they get clearance for all the samples, and like you go to their YouTube, that's like huge, and like
I'm not really sure about that part.
Press like show more, and there's like a whole list of like links to like other YouTube videos from where they got the songs from, and it's pretty much just like, you know, they just take it and then put some reverb on it. But again, it just feels like a cool like archive sort of like resource to have.
It's interesting to see people who are maybe potentially like, you know, they are graphic designers as like the main thing, right? And then the music is meant to match that.
Right.
True.
Which I vibe with that a lot. You know, it goes back and forth with like.
There's no wrong way to do. Yeah, there's no wrong way to do this. You know, in my opinion.
Yeah. Some projects like. I love working in the context of singles. I love putting out singles, and I think we can all kind of like agree that like Spotify loves it when we put out singles. You know, that you get a lot more attention on one tune, and it's like
true
that attention feels more like palpable and like like it's you know, it's the same vibe of like, all right, I spent a year and a half on this whole album. I know specifically, statistically, like the track order, number one's going to have the most listens, the most streams, all the way down to number 12, and it's the least amount. That's just how it works. You know?
Unfortunate.
And like, you know, that doesn't feel great. But
no, it doesn't. But it's a tough thing. You know, there's always the desire to put out an album. You know, it is. I'm mostly releasing singles these days, and that's great. And I can promote it the same way I can promote an album. I can make the artwork for it. I put a lot of care into the song. Single. But it's really hard because just as an artist, you're like, but I feel like I have to do an album because the album, you know, the single is great, but the album's going to be my statement to it's going to be me. You know
or at least like have a B-side to the single.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the like I want to have an album. Like I've been struggling to put out like a full length album for a long time now because it's just like, well, how would I make this? Like this is my statement. This is who I am when I put out an album. When I put out a single, it's still who I am, but I don't have to be so worried about it because I'll put out another single soon anyway. You know what I mean? It's tough. I don't know. How do you feel about that? What do you feel about the difference between the album and the single? You know,
that's a great question. Stop it. Those are my questions.
I'm still like I think both works, you know, and
what do you like to listen to for yourself as a consumer? Do you like EPs, singles, albums?
I listen to. If I'm on Spotify, I'm just pressing random.
I like the shuffle button
shuffle.
too.
Shuffle.
Yeah,
all
that's what
day.
I
Would
do
you
too,
would
actually,
you listen to that
yeah.
6-hour Caretaker album?
Oh gosh, no.
Or what about Derelict Megatower? Is there such thing as an album that's too long or too short?
So
That's
like
usually
nowadays,
Yeah.
the industry standard for like an album's like 33 minutes now.
Yeah.
Or like 34 minutes. Like that's an album. It's like that's an EP, dog. Like what are you talking
I
about?
agree, man. Lo-Fi
like,
House is
that's an EP,
especially
man.
bad about it. These guys release 3 or 4 tracks, and
And one's an intro,
I wanna,
one's an interlude,
I
one's an
want
outro.
to support him, but I'm just like, motherfucker, like that's only 20 minutes worth of material. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old. Maybe I'm old.
But if you approach an album like this is my album, I'm gonna make an album, put out 4 singles from it. Like that's the way to go. That's what's worked for me, and that's in my experience with other bands, that's what you do. You space it out every month, and then you treat the single as like a pretty much a big release. And then by the time this is also like a psychological trick. By the time your album comes out, you look at your Spotify artist stats, and you've got the album's been out for a weekend, and I've got 1 million
Right.
streams. It's like those are all from your singles, but like
Right.
sure, yeah, you're right.
That's what Death Dynamic Shroud is doing right now.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, I'm in the camp of like put out a 6-song EP. Every song on
Perfect.
the EP, maybe 5 will be singles, and then like drop
Hell
the EP with like a bonus song or something. Like again, there's no
It's a good idea.
wrong or right way to do
Club
this.
edit.
Yeah, club edits are great. Baraka and I, our next album, we used to like live in close proximity for the longest time. Now we're kind of spread out. Our next album, we're planning on just kind of like remixing a lot of our older songs.
That's
treat
a cool
it
idea.
like a more even pure vaporwave experience of production. We're not going to track anything. We're just going to remix all of our own stems into a new album, pretty much.
I don't know why the vaporwave scene doesn't do more remix albums. Do you remember in like the 2000s, electronic artists would always have like an album, and then they would release like the remix album, and it would have like 12 to 15 terrible
Yeah.
remixes, and the only people that would buy it were like super fans. Vaporwave
Passion
artists, yeah, man.
Phoenix,
Vaporwave
Phoenix
artists
release the stems
constantly.
to the public, like that
Yeah.
We Are Phoenix album, or not We Are, not
we need more vaporwave remix albums. Damn it.
I've been trying. I like.
Pop
asked a
Culture
few
did one.
people.
I contributed to it.
Good.
It's hard.
I asked Lux actually, and she's like, "I'm too busy." Like everybody, it's you're
It's
working.
hard, man.
everybody
It's hard to get
everybody
things
is,
done.
is pulling at that one.
I get the bug to make a remix every now and then. I like approach people like, "Hey, I'll remix one of your things. Like, fuck it, just for free. Like, I just want to mix
Right.
something." That happens every now and then. Because remixing is just like it's a different sort of like artistic like synapse firing.
Mhm.
Like you already have everything.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard. Depends on how you remix it.
That is
It's
true.
actually very hard when I remix stuff because I reimagine the whole song usually.
Yeah, you do.
And like it's like a whole different song when I do it, and so it
Those
takes
are
me
the
a
good
long
remixes,
time.
Chris.
It takes me a long time to do remixes. Honestly, I still owe Patch Notes and Be Careful remixes that I'm
I can't wait
working
to
on
hear that
for
Patch
like
Notes remix.
fucking like I've been working on remixes for them for like 3 or 4 months because like I'm just turning them into whole other songs, and then I don't know, but maybe I
So-
approach it the wrong way.
Remixing.
I call them reimaginings rather than remixes.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think remixing instrumental electronic music is way more difficult than getting like a pop song or something to remix. Like I'm just gonna take the vocal line and recontextualize the chords and the beat.
Yeah.
I might take some one shots, but getting like a vaporwave song to remix, that is difficult. It's like, all right, where do I start? Like, what do
Yeah.
I keep? What do I swap out? It's like how much of the song at the end of the day will even be the original song. It's like that quote from Vision from like the Marvel universe. He was like, or the boat thing, like you keep rebuilding the boat. Is it the boat anymore? Like, or is it just
Well,
that's
a new
pretty
boat?
common. That's like I've heard that expression before. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when is it no longer the boat? Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
We got some great questions in chat, courtesy
Oh, we
of
have some
Syllabus.
questions?
Syllabus says,
let's-
"Is there
let's get some
anything you
questions going.
return to when you feel creatively dry?" Music, TV, movies, places, IRL,
Great question.
etc.
Great question.
YouTube.
Nice.
Hell yeah. What do
I'm
you
on
search
YouTube
for?
so much.
What does your YouTube crate digging look like?
So like whenever my partner falls asleep, that's my time. Like, oh, I'm going to tutorial mode. I'm like
Tutorial mode.
Like I'm just
Nice.
cataloging, archiving so many Adobe Cloud tutorials that I can just like get my hands on. Just like creating a library of like resources for that. It's I think to kind of like open up the question more, because I feel like my artistic kind of path has so many various like mediums inside of it that like if I get feeling like I'm burnt out on music or I just put a new album out, I'm like, all right, I don't have to like concentrate on music for now. I'm gonna like worry about something else or like learn about something else.
That was something Soft Replica said earlier. If you hit a wall, just go to some other art.
Yeah. And then all the art that comes from you informs all the other types of mediums.
Oh,
like my music informs how I consume visual art and vice versa.
Very cool.
And like you go through cycles, like YouTube is just great at like reminding you that you love something that you forgot about.
Yeah, I find that all
point.
the time.
I think even more Spotify is more about like discovering new things rather than like, hey, you fucking loved this shit 5 years ago.
Right. Or like shit that you listened to or watched when you were a kid.
Right. Just like activating deep nostalgia, kind of like
Embedded memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Like a lot of my YouTube feed is like that Australian like learning channel type stuff where it's like the like Curiosity Show or something like that.
Or like
that.
how it's
like
made.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's like
Curiosity Show. Interesting.
It's like
what is this?
It's like from the 70s. It's like a BBC style thing, but in Australia.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, wow.
We should definitely link that
visuals,
shit.
Very
great
interesting.
Vibe. It's like ASMR almost, where it's like just two Australian guys like, check this out. How does this work? And it's just like an optical illusion or like something weird. ASMR finds its way to me a lot. I think ASMR kind of like influences a lot of my music, especially in like the textural kind of elements of some of the more like sprawling pieces of music. Yeah, when I get in a rut creatively, it's kind of a hard question to answer because I feel like I haven't been in a rut.
That was a great answer though, and that's great, man. Syllabus has another question. If you're all right with me, just kind of shooting over to that one. This is a really good one. What about the scene these days do you like? Is there anything that you dislike?
Well, I've not by choice. I feel like I've been on the outside of the scene, outside of the community, and I'm trying to be more present and active in the community because it is such a vibrant and open and rewarding, and like I honestly, like I said earlier, the vaporwave community kind of like just found me and found Baraka and like has just lifted my spirits so much, and
it's great
to be able to just like be a part of this by any means, to contribute to it and like feel like I'm a part of something that's encompassing. This reminds me of like the MySpace days, like 2008 kind of vibes,
The whole vaporwave scene thing too. It's a durable scene too, man, because it's been around for a while.
Yeah,
like it doesn't go away, and the people are very dedicated to it, and they really care about music, and they know about a lot of music too. It's like it finds you because like the people who come into vaporwave are usually like they're very into music, and it's like nobody. I said before, but nobody starts with vaporwave. They like have gone to it because they've studied a bunch of other genres and other like niche worlds. And they know a lot about like outsider artists, and they really appreciate a lot of the micro genres and the different strange music scenes. And they study them, and they might not even be into like all these like weird music scenes, but they know about it, and they've studied it, and they can sometimes tell you like the most important artists from it, and then they moved on to another thing. They kind of find themselves in vaporwave because there's like a confluence of all their influences in it somewhere. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So it's it's really cool stuff here. That's why.
Is there any like graphic of like the vaporwave family tree anywhere?
The vaporwave family tree. Like you would.
There's a lot of like essential albums and shit.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
And are you talking about like what what's the progenitors to it or something like that, or what would something like that?
Like you see like those kind of like family tree type graphics of like bands where it's like I'm thinking of like School of Rock, like
one thing
like
that
the
kind of sucks
chalkboard.
is
It's
a
like
lot of
Joy
the old
Division,
heads
like,
aren't involved anymore, or like don't
Yeah.
fuck with the kids, and it's a
Right.
shame.
You think
Not
so?
all of them. I do, man. I mean, I love. We got Lux in here. We got Syllabus, Computer Dreams, Persona La Ave. We got a lot of OGs that are like around, but there's a lot that are like just disappeared, or they don't want to be associated with the term vaporwave.
I mean, there's like you got like I think that there's a few, but
a lot of the like second or third wave vaporwave artists from Fortune 500 and Dream catalog have either disappeared, or some of them have just kind of gone into their own like scene.
But
and
I would
like resent the vaporwave.
Well, okay,
theme or
but you
label.
have that on one hand, but on the other hand, then you also have like Cat System. You have
Not to be
Lux,
negative. I mean, there's still a lot of OGs.
You have myself. You've got George Clinton. You've got
Saint
Pepsi.
Yeah,
You've got like
Lux,
all these.
Syllabus.
There's a lot of people. I think all these people. I think there's a lot of people who are like that. But like
all
of course
that
you've
to
got,
say, we got you here, and you've been around. I mean, you kind of came from the indie rock and chillwave scene. Like, as far as progenitors, it's like there's a lot of disconnections, in that whole flow, that whole chart.
I think the same. What would even the first generation of any genre be? Would they be making that music? Would like?
I mean, like 18 Karat Affair just dropped a new album recently, and I've said many times on the show, I think he's the one who invented vaporwave personally.
And I have said it too, and agreed with you, and actually said that in Pat Chennington's video about the Echo Jams album, and as the counterpoint to it. I mean, yeah,
very cool.
I go check out that video by Pat Chennington. I've got my
I got to see that
too. And shout out Pat Chennington. What a wonderful person. I love that guy. He's so great and supportive.
This might be something that just flew over my head, but what happened with the documentary that?
Oh,
who was
nobody here?
It? Right.
Actually, the My Pet Flamingo guys are the ones behind it.
Right.
And it is still in process.
I think the pandemic happened.
They actually just reached out to me pretty recently because about when they're coming down for Econ, and I will be doing my interview with them. During that time period, so
we gotta do
and I'm sure they probably talked to a lot of other people about that.
Are there
as
still
well.
tickets for Econ? Because
hell yeah.
Are you gonna come?
You
Come on, man. Let's come hang, dude. Yo, please come.
Dude, we're gonna be rolling so deep, man.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. Those econs are so much fun to go to. You just walk around. It's magic. It's magic that they even existed in the first place.
It's very affirming.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it even exists in reality. These things that happened and is going to happen again. And the first two were just, I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe that George pulled it off.
Yeah, kudos George.
Kudos George.
Shout out George.
I have him to thank. I know he was the moderator for a lot of the early big vaporwave Spotify playlists that.
Oh, thanks for the links, Alex.
Honestly, like helped me pay my bills back in the day.
Shout out George! Thank you for helping Persona pay their bills.
He cares a lot about people, and people don't always realize. Maybe don't know that, but he really does.
Pepsi, like
Ryan.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I was supposed to play like the first one, and I couldn't make it because I was like in another band at the time.
Damn.
We've like fallen off since then. Got left on red quite a bit.
Yikes.
By George?
George is a busy man. I remember as recently as 2015.
We all get left on red.
My Facebook DMs, and
we all get get left on red by George. He's really busy.
Chris, even you? Wow.
Hey
guys, Pacific Plaza has a great question. Always does. Pacific Plaza says,
he's busy.
When you were doing DIY style tours, where was the weirdest place you played and the crustiest place you slept?
Okay. I would always opt to just sleep in the car if it got too crusty.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of just sprawling out in the car or the van. But outside of that, just probably underneath a sink of like a dingy hotel, like
underneath a sink.
those DIY
You need the
tours.
sink? Wait, what? Like in the cabinet? What?
Like
Were
like
you drunk or like inebriated or just no room?
Mostly, yeah. Like you'd get enough money if you wanted to, like, if so those DIY like tours. A lot of it's house shows. You're just gonna stay at the house show anyway,
Right?
or
Yeah.
like stay at the house.
You're gonna stay at the house afterwards.
If you're at a venue, somebody on the bill at one point is going to be on the mic. Hey, does anybody have a place for us to stay? And that's where you go stay. And then you'll end up
sleep on a piss pillow.
if that doesn't happen, you end up pulling your money. So like 9 people can stay at a hotel room or a motel room.
You sneak people in and lie about how many people you have.
Yeah, that whole number. So places I've played, I mean, like, like every house show kind of is its own thing. They're always like, different experiences, different venues are like a different vibe. There's nothing ever that felt like The Green Room, like that movie or anything, it was never like
yeah, I hope it didn't feel like The Green Room. Jesus Christ,
I have not seen The Green Room.
It's a fucking horror movie, dude. Like, yeah.
Honestly though, I think it's one of the most accurate depictions of like being in a band that like movies have committed to film, because otherwise like most movies with a band, it's like romanticized and like
oh yeah absolutely,
just like the monotony of being a band. It's like it's just 4 people in a van just like farting, and like
right.
that's
horrible.
That's your life.
Horrible. That's your life. Oh no, it's so sad.
And then you get to the venue and it's like, oh, immediately the show's gonna suck just by like
put on your game face,
just by the PA system, and
or the sound guy.
Those DIY tours, though, to that notion, like we would tour with our own PAs, like
smart.
Specifically, like those Gobble Gobble guys who end up being like Born Gold, like Grimes backing band, Purity Ring. They were like.
So Purity Ring was Grimes' backing band initially?
Not Purity Ring. They were in a band called Gobble Gobble that ended up being Grimes.
But Gobble Gobble was Grimes' backing band.
Yeah, they're called Born Gold at that point.
So was the girl from Purity Ring in it at the time, or no?
No.
Okay.
She was only in Gobble Gobble like while they were in Canada, and when they toured America, it was like a different band.
I see.
But yeah, they were very much like Dan Deacon adjacent sort of.
I got you.
Oh, interesting.
Heavy,
like late 2000s silly core.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't know. Chris likes Dan Deacon a lot, so
they had to tour with their own.
I respect
PA,
him.
So it was the exact like even if we were playing a venue with a PA, they would bring their own PA because it was like
interesting.
They controlled everything top down, and like lighting. They did.
That's really smart.
Wow, I just saw them recently live, and man, their show, the current incarnation of the Purity Ring show that's touring right now. Holy fuck! Like it's next level. They have like really gone all out with. I saw them
with Health.
Oh,
that
shout out Health!
Amazing show. God damn, those.
You don't even like. You need to see what they do. They have an entire like long scrim that covers the front, and they project on the scrim, and the guy has like these lights that like light up, and then the girl has all kinds of costume changes. Crazy. They are professionals. So oh my god.
They've inherited all of that from like those early days of like DIY touring, because they had costumes. They were like dressing up and like U2s and touring like South Carolina wearing like women's underwear on stage, and just like frat guys are like, what the fuck is this?
Wow.
But yeah. So
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm kind of like wrapping stories around in my head at this.
Well, we got another DIY-esque question in chat. If you don't mind if I ask it really quick.
Yeah.
Soft Replica wants to know. Let's see. Damn it, I lost. Oh, how does Persona La Ave feel about DIY tours now that they're older? Do you miss it? Would you do it again?
I'm gonna that's why I don't really tour as much with PLA, because like I want to make sure that people that are gonna be on my band will be able to get paid for their time, and will be able to have bed to sleep in every night, and it's hard to do that now. I literally just got kicked out of my band that I was touring in because they weren't making enough money to keep me on the road. Even though I was like making all of their like social media posts and like motion design stuff for free. I was like, y'all are gonna end up losing money kicking me out of the band. This is dumb. But but like, you know, there's kind of like a threshold, there's like a happy medium, I think, of like the DIY approach would happen for me in like booking and facilitating like the bills and whatnot, and probably still finding places to stay, because like, I don't know if you guys have toured recently with gas prices. It's like, you're not gonna make money if you're on the road for the most part. Like,
no, I don't ever really do tours if there's specific places that want me to play or DJ, you know, depending on what the thing calls for. Like, I will go to it, and it's usually specifically a vaporwave or internet music themed event. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's almost like the way that it's like a miniature version of a convention, where like the convention is just going to be drawing a specific crowd that wants to go to this, that knows what it's about, or somebody who's like maybe an art student that's interested in this sort of thing. But it's not like, it's not like it's like, oh, we play this date, then we play this date, then we play this date. It's like, well, when the event happens, we play the event. If the event doesn't happen, we don't play the event, and wherever the event is happening, we'll go to it. You know?
Yeah.
And planning a tour is a bitch, man.
But like I do. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but like
people have to like get venues to fucking email them back. Ugh.
So like I throw like Persona, like I throw. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I throw Terminally Chill, which is the vaporwave themed dance party that happens like usually every other month in Philadelphia. And then I have another one that was founded by my co-manager for Fantacat, Agnes, and she runs that out in Sacramento, California. And we have people like, you know, Vape Error and Discoholic and Fiber were at the last one that I did, and Vape Error came to mind to do the DJ set at my party, and then he flew to Sacramento to do the DJ set at the other Terminally Chill, and like that's like an established
Vape Error
thing.
doesn't stop. He's amazing.
He never stops. He's crazy. Jeff's crazy. But like he and I love him very much. I'm so happy he's in New York now. But anyhow, so like that event is specifically for this, and I've been doing it for a few years now, and it has a big following. It does very well. So like people can come if you're in the vaporwave world and come to that. In the same way that Ronnie has Vapor Space, right? Like that's an established thing. People know what it is. It's built a following, and like that's a thing that you can go to. But like touring in general, like it's very difficult. Like when there aren't these specific things where people are familiar with this world and the extended universe of this world. You know what I mean? Like you would definitely be part of the extended universe of this world, and like you could play these places. But it's hard sometimes for like, I don't know, what are you gonna do in like Ohio?
It's hard, especially on the West Coast. Everything's so far apart.
So yeah, you're gonna, you know, lose so much money on travel. So Jesus. Like, for me, with like what like a PLA tour would look like would be hitting people like you guys up or Ronnie, and then asking for help in other places as well, and then booking around that, and then also thinking more productively. Like, I don't really want to play Ohio. I love Ohio, but like, I'm not gonna go find a productive show to play on Tuesday.
Play with Keith.
You know, like, well, like it's a matter of like, in this scene, or like in most scenes, you know, it's the weekends, it's the weekend shows, it's the parties. You know, it's like Thursday through Sunday at best, and then all the other days where you have to be on the road.
And apparently Saturdays are really hard to get.
Yeah, I mean, well, I love Thursday shows. You're not competing with as much stuff on
That's
Thursday.
When I do. Terminally Chill is always on Thursday.
Thursday night.
When I do it.
Yeah.
Apparently, like Sunday and Monday are really bad nights.
Yeah. Like Saturday. I mean, everybody's like, you know, if you're going out to a show nowadays, everything's so expensive anyway. You're going to go to one show a week, tops, and it's, you know, you got to pick and choose your battles. So what a PLA tour would look like now for me is like, you know, to backtrack again, like I kind of compartmentalized, like a PLA vaporwave tour would be me on the road by myself, maybe my partner, driving around. Think of it more of like a work vacation rather than like we're on the road working every fucking day.
Right.
Like, all right, now we're in Philly or DC for a couple days. Like, let's just do some cool shit for cheap and just stay
that
here.
Is the best way to think about it and the best way to approach it. Wow. Yeah.
And
like
then
work vacation.
like, oh, we got to be up in New York Friday for this party, and then like I'm planning up another party like in like, you know, you get to the big cities and then you want to like hang out there. Play like 3 or 4 shows, like a residency type thing, if you can get something like that. And then like thinking more about like, all right, doing a full band run DIY nowadays, unless you're like, I don't know, like have like a giant fan base somehow, it's just like impossible. Like
yeah, I can't even imagine.
That's gonna be so tense. It's gonna.
And you usually
like,
have to get like several people to kind of like fill out a lineup. You
Yeah.
know, like local openers, and then maybe like 1 or 2 people that'll be there throughout the duration of the tour. That's difficult to like make things kind of. It's like the stars aligning.
And that's what I love about like a scene like this and a community like this. It is very it's personable, and like when you talk to an artist on Instagram, it's not like, all right, who am I talking to? Like, what band member am I talking to? It's like, no, this is you, you know, like this is this person. For the most part, like what like EDS is like one of the only like vaporwave bands, if you know, I'm not getting my wires crossed.
Yeah, kind of.
It's kind of a.
I'm sure there might be a couple others.
Well, I don't know.
Collective.
I guess so. Well, when Mir No Tilde, when I played with future funk artist Mir No Tilde, he actually had a live drummer with him, and it was actually really
sick as fuck.
Well, he did it.
That's
nice.
That's the way to do it. You know, if you probably have experience playing like festivals or anything like that, like if you end up being a DJ.
Oh, Donor Lens, of course.
Yeah,
Pacific
Donor
Plaza.
Lens. That's true.
I
know Aaron
also,
Shadrow played
and also
drums a lot.
Runners Club as well, pretty much. You
Technically,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Donor Lens is like, yeah, there you go. That's right. Thank you.
And
Topaz
then
Gang is 2
there's,
people. Thanks, Strip Silence.
A whole like chillwave kind of approach to like touring with a band. You know, like Washed Out or Toro. You know, like commend Toro for keeping the same band member for his homies since day one.
I did not know that. That's very cool.
Before they were in Toro, they were in a different band. I forget what they were called. The Thief and the Accomplice or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Indie rock band. Chaz doing like complete emo stuff. Same band members. They just like, he's like, all right, I trust you guys. You're gonna be my band forever. You know. You get to a point in bands where it becomes a business, and you end up having to fire your homies because gas prices are too expensive. Like that's what happened to me. And you know, you know, everybody wants to be in a band and play music for a living, and then when it actually happens, you're like, oh shit, this kind of sucks. Like, people think being on a tour bus is awesome. Fucking sucks. Tour buses are god awful. There's no communal space that isn't gonna be like completely claustrophobic, and the only like space to yourself you have is like a coffin of like a pod where you sleep. I've never been in a band that had a tour bus, but like that's what you aspire to, and like, you know, it's, you get to a level where like you play these run and gun festivals where like there's just giant festivals, your set's an hour long, and like you have very little control over like what you sound like and anything, you know. And then at the end of the day, you're running a business. You're not really in a band anymore. You're in the studio trying to write hits to pay the bills. It takes a level of artistry completely out of it, and I was worn down from doing that shit, and I'm really glad I'm not doing it anymore, and I get to focus on myself and my own art again.
Sounds like touring is kind of a necessary evil to the
that's kind of like
nots.
Yeah,
for the haves, it's probably a big party.
Well, you know, like there's a lot of people who get into this industry and like they're already wealthy. Like it's
Indeed.
like a lot of your favorite artists are already wealthy.
Oh yeah,
like, you
or
know
their
what I mean?
parents are.
That's the way it is. Well, that's what I mean.
Which by proxy
like,
makes
they already
them
come
wealthy.
from money. Like Frank Jobs C made this post. Like you want a life hack for being a successful artist? Have a wealthy family. Like
no shit, right?
It's true.
Your uncles so in the underpaid. Industry, yeah.
Oh my God, so many of them, like more than you even realize. Like they're already wealthy. But yeah, Hotel Pool said a very similar thing to you that you were just saying about with like the touring and then just doing it on your own and it just doing it in a different way after that. And the sentiment that you said was very similar to what he was talking about when he was on.
Yeah, and you want to have fun. You want to go on the road and have fun and like meet new people and make lifelong friendships. And that's what those DIY tours were more like. And like I was maybe too young to care about like finances or like getting from point A to point B, and I was like more limber to like sleep underneath a sink and stuff like that. But nowadays it's like I said, you got to find a little happy medium, little wiggle room, and then tour on this other spectrum. You deal with mental health, and it's a very big factor. And if you're in a band big enough to have like a rider on your when you get to the green room, you just have a bottle of tequila and a 24 case of beer between 4 people every fucking night, and some hummus. Like, you're gonna get close to blackout drunk every night because you're hanging out with your homies every night. And
True.
I did that for a good 12 years or something like that, and then found myself like I'm on stage playing keyboard, doing muscle memory stuff, like just playing the same set over and over again. And I look down to my left and I see like 9 empty glasses of tequila. I'm like, I am blackout drunk up here. Like,
wow,
something's got to change.
How did you handle like difficulty sleeping, like in different places? What would happen if you just like went several days with shitty sleep?
So nowadays I take medication for bipolar disorder, which acts as a sleep aid as well.
Gotcha.
Like, I take it when I'm ready to go to bed and it knocks me out.
Sick.
Some nights you're not supposed to take it when you're drinking really at all.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that's a bad mixture.
Yeah, it doesn't like, it's not any bad side effects. It just doesn't work as well. It doesn't get to like your parts of your brain and parts of like your body that like make the medicine work. So that was the thing. Like, I'd be like getting to the hotel room at 2:30 in the morning, and it's like, should I take my meds that are gonna knock me out for 9 hours?
Right, you're gonna be all groggy when you get up.
I gotta wake up at 9 to get out of this hotel room to be in a van for 8 hours. So like, that's a big part of it.
Shit, I don't know how you did it.
Physical health too, like it all kind of like starts adding up. And
did you
it's not.
Well, I kind of want to ask the question, like, does it just sort of creep up on you? Like, because you tell me that, like, at some point, like, you're just doing this muscle memory and you look over and you see these, like, 7 to 9 glasses of tequila that you drank and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize it. Like, I didn't even realize that I was being so unhealthy because I guess you're so distracted by A, being with your friends, B, keeping the schedule, you know what I mean? Being a professional, you know what I mean? But I guess you're numbing the difficulty and the stress that you have because you're still completing all your dates, you're still performing, you're still getting to the venues on time, you're still doing what you need to do as a professional, but obviously you must have been under a lot of stress. You must have been feeling a lot of internal pain because you were drinking so much, and it's to the point where I guess you don't even realize the pain or you don't even realize the stress that you're under until you actually examine the physical reality directly in front of you and you see those glasses. Was that like a big thing for you, a big moment?
That night after we got done playing, I was like crying in the green room, and it was mostly like me like putting up a mirror to myself, and I was like, you guys, we are not pro at all, right? And it's kind of like, because we were all like blackout drunk on the stage every night, and I was like, this isn't good. Like, we keep fucking up a lot, like we keep hitting bad notes and just kind of laughing it off, like, oh, wasn't it funny when we fucked that song up? It's like, I don't know, like, people paid a lot of money to see this. Like, and my case was very specific to this band, and like, I was in a band with a bunch of friends that I'd grown up with and like been in and out of bands with for a long time, and it just got to a point where like we're all like, we got to do something, and the tour ends, and then you go back on another tour and just start up again, and it's hard to find any compromise. It's hard to find any. It's more. It's up to you as an individual. You can't like. In my case, like I try to take like a leadership role just by like stepping up and kind of, expressing myself more, and I was almost like punished for it in a way.
Oh, damn.
Really?
Yeah, like I guess this is hot takes, but
let's do it.
Yeah, go for it.
So like it's Friday, it's a Friday, and we just got off the road from like a 10-day tour, which the shorter tours are worse because you're like, oh, we're only out for 10 days. Let's fucking party.
Let's go hard, right?
I have to pace myself for 30 days. I'll just be chill. But the 10-day ones are like you're going. But so we get done with a 10-day run. I'm home. I'm having like a lot of like mixed feelings about the band, creatively and artistically, and like we're burnt out. Everybody's burnt out. Back to the beginning of the show, like. And then I have a phone call with our manager, good hour and a half phone call, just like laying out all my feelings, like.
Yeah.
And then, he was like, all right, let me talk to band leader and like figure some stuff out. And then come next Wednesday, I'm kicked out of the band. No band meeting, no sort of like, hey, let's figure this out. It's just like, oh, you were having a hard time. Well, you're done. Like,
horrible that you can go and ugly, make yourself vulnerable like that, and say like, look, I'm not feeling healthy right now. I'm getting a good feeling that everyone else is probably not feeling unhealthy right now, and they don't want to confront that. You know what I mean? And they're the ones who are going to suffer because of that, because they can't confront it. It's their loss, and it's going to be, it's going to be a hard road for them because they're going to have to confront the things that you confronted eventually. Indeed. And you did it, and you can surmount it, and now you can rebuild your life the way you want to, on your own terms, from your own artistic and personal standpoint, in a healthy way. And who knows what's going to happen to them? You know what I mean? It's going to hit them. It's going to hit them hard, and they won't have that same ability that you had to express yourself.
I wish that band in particular nothing but the best. Like, they're all my homies, and I hope they get the success that they want and like need for, to sustain the lives that they want. But at the same time, it's like, you guys, the art comes first, the fans come first,
Yeah.
And also their personal health comes in that as well.
Yeah, man,
and
you can't play if you're dead. Damn.
You can't like play if all you're doing is putting this thick cement wall up between what you're going through, what you're feeling, and like the whole like being on the road and performing and this and that, and then you can only drink so much. You can only avoid so much before like you have to confront what's going on inside yourself. And the longer you wait to do that, the more it has the potential to destroy you, Yeah. And so good for you for realizing that and for fucking taking control. You know what I mean? That's hard to do, and they haven't done that.
The vibe was like, I had that phone call with the manager, and like I had that vibe. Like, I'm gonna go into work and put my 2 weeks notice in. But then I get to work, and the manager, like my boss, the band leader, was like, "Oh, I heard you wanted to quit. We're just gonna fire you."
I love how they kind of like distill like all the complex things that you were saying down to, "Oh, I heard you want to quit."
Yeah.
Fuck you, man. Like, fuck you for like taking like my like strong feelings that I've thought very deeply about and had to make myself vulnerable before. Like, it's not like you just like, no, you thought deeply about what you were feeling and you put it and you're an intelligent guy. You communicated it in an intelligent way, and they're like, no one wants to hear it. Because if they hear it, they have to be confronted with what they feel, and they're not ready for that. You know what I mean? So you know what people do? They just run, right? They run away from things that are scary. A hot take.
It's so fucking wild.
Hot fucking take, man.
How accurate you are about this specific person. You have no idea who they are, but this is exactly what this person's been doing.
Hey, man, I've got good intuition. I read people pretty well. I read things like this, I can feel them. But yeah.
Hey, man, on the flip side, is there anybody that you want to shout out as being especially supportive in or outside the scene?
Do that.
Within the community, or
anybody,
just anybody in your life or within the community.
My partner, of course, Ren. She's on here as Ren, or they're on here as Ren.
Shout out Ren.
Shout out Ren.
They've kept me together.
Wonderful. That's
the
beautiful.
Past year and a half.
I love
Within the community itself, my collaborator Baraka, Jeffrey Dean, he is actually a published doctor of jazz piano. By the way.
Holy shit! Oh, I think I read that somewhere. We got another doctor here.
Are you? If you're on Twitch, you could drop a link for Baraka that we can check out their solo work. But if that's too much work, I'm sure Lux will have it.
Yeah, I don't want to like.
You do a lot of work with Baraka. You seem like you kind of enjoy collaborative work.
Yeah, it's great.
Because some people really dislike it.
Well, we work in the room together. I think that's
physically together. That's sick.
We've never collaborated across email.
Okay, that makes a difference.
We have to be in the room. Like,
it's a physical.
I used to do the email collaboration. It's like the same thing like earlier with like commissioning artists for artwork. It's like I'm not really quite sure why I don't like this, but like it's just so time consuming. Like being in the room, you get so much more work done. And you just vibe and you get to like jam and experience creativity together, and it's we became like really close in that sense, and we found common ground and like references and things like that. And for the longest time it was just him playing on a MIDI controller while I'm like digging through tones until I get like that perfect brass patch, and I'm like, there it is, dog, and like record.
Very nice.
That was our workflow for the longest time.
Very nice.
Yeah, more shout outs. Whoever moderates that fucking Spotify playlist.
Whoever they are.
When we find out, we'll let you know.
Just you know, the community makes those playlists possible, and this community in itself really, like, you know, it, not to again attach financial sort of stability to anything, but like that fucking helps, you know, like especially like I just turned 31 now. It's like I have to worry, or not worry, but like I am concerned about like having a family and being stable, and money can't buy happiness, but it can buy stability.
Yeah,
it's true.
And so much of my income does come from like people who want to listen to my music, and that just blows me away.
Right.
Like, really just like breaking it down to like thinking back like some 17-year-old kid fucking around on Audacity, and just like, nah man, like just keep doing it, like keep going, like, you know, you'll be, you know, amongst friends who like give a fuck about you, and like it'll pay off one day. And honestly, I feel like, you know, the ramp's still like going up for like the community in itself, and
it is,
buddy.
You know, people like you guys and Ronnie, and like people that are curators and archivists and passionate about what we do. It really means the world to anybody involved. You know, like it's special, like getting on here, just like saying what's up, you know,
it's important,
reminiscing, and it puts it's a lot of power into like the community, which I feel like I've been not participating in as much as I should be.
Oh, there's space for you, man.
There's
never too late.
No wrong way to do it. You know what I mean? You're good.
Well, I appreciate you guys tremendously.
Oh, the feeling is definitely
mutual. I appreciate everybody in chat, everybody in the group. You know, like the lockdown pandemic kind of just like flipped the script on everybody, I think, and we had to like adapt and like figure out new ways to commune and like hang out together. And I'm glad stuff like this is like stuck. You know, I'm glad that like people still want to keep doing this. Not to say that like you're like podcasts have been around for forever, but just like the community as like a chat room, it always feels like very tangible and like heartwarming.
That's why we like to do this live, you know what I mean, so that we can have the participation.
This is the space for the super
instead
fans.
of just like recording it. we like to have it live, so because that way we can get questions, that way people can talk to each other, they can talk to us.
Yeah,
and
man.
it adds it infuses a whole other energy into the process.
We might have to get a little creative when we work with some of our brothers and sisters across the pond.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that we're always working on is like, how are we going to do? We have so many people in other countries that we want to talk to. Like, man, oh man, like I really want to talk to Donor Lens and all these guys over there across the pond, and I want to talk to my buddies over in Australia. You know what I mean? Like those guys too. Like I really want to get like my buddies surfing on here. And
Oh, I know if I asked Leroy, he would say yes.
Oh, I got Lee and Penny. I want to get them both on here. Absolutely.
So we're about to roll into a portion of the evening where we really do a shout out section. But you kind of already did that, so I'm gonna just co-op Soft Replica, hinting at the fact that he wants to know if you prefer Slow Dive or My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, I discovered Slow Dive well before I discovered My Bloody Valentine. Like Slow Dive and like Low and Red House Painters. Like
nice. Some of that slowcore shit.
Yeah, like nice. I had like discovered a lot of that through this streaming service called Rhapsody. That was like Real Players streaming service, and they had really good like related artist algorithms.
Wild.
Interesting.
My dad subscribed to it up until like 2 years ago, and I was like, dude, you gotta get Spotify, man. Like, let's get that family plan. Like, yeah, Slow Dive. Honestly though, like I probably can't remember any specific like song titles or anything. Like that was back when I was discovering music as albums, and I was just consuming so much. Yeah, that's a random question, but
I know it is. But hey, we ask.
I love it.
It's become a thing.
I'm glad I had an answer.
Thank you for humoring me and Soft Replica. You gave the correct answer, even though the people in the chat are losing their minds. You've I
love My Bloody Valentine, but like
me too.
Oh, that's apples and oranges also. I don't know, like
it's okay. All right, you're not wrong. All right. Man, you have the floor if you want to shout some more people out, or you want to promote, or just say anything you want to promote.
So yeah, My Pet Flamingo. Those guys, they do that for a living. They run a label for a living. That's not like a
crazy,
like a side hustle or anything. Like
they are professionals.
They're great. Vapor, Baraka, and PLA collaborative albums coming out. It's already out. You can order tapes and mini discs. I guess mini discs are super big in Europe and UK. I've never known
My Flamingo.
But we're doing a vinyl release too. We just haven't dropped it or talked about it yet. It's gonna be beautiful. They do the great work. I sent those guys the full album before it dropped on Spotify or anything. The day they got it, and they use WhatsApp to communicate, just like
right.
Oh yeah, me and just like, yo, dude, like we're gonna order the wax for this right now. And I was like, oh shit, like
they released the Luxury Elite Skeleton Lipstick album that I made, or they re-released it, the Lipstick Elite album, which is the collaboration between myself and Lux, and My Pet Flamingo released that, and they are wonderful to work with. They are such awesome people. You're right, they're so
pros.
Good and responsive. They're such wonderful. They're a pleasure every time I get to talk to those guys.
The last one we did, like that Relation Temptation vinyl, that was the first vinyl I had put out as an artist. It was amazing. It was like trending on Reddit for like a whole weekend.
Amazing.
Like on like the Vapor Vinyl Reddit. It was insane. I felt like a weird little celebrity. It was like number 2 on Bandcamp for the weekend. Like,
how about that? How
not the genre, the whole site.
The whole thing.
Whoa.
How fucking cool. What an amazing trip.
I think the vinyl sold out in like 2 days or something, like 300 units. And I was just like, this is crazy.
Wouldn't have expected that 10 years ago.
And a lot of that
wouldn't have expected that 10 years ago.
With, it was just like the pedigree of the album itself was like, pushing like 7 years old, and was like on the vaporwave like kind of ethos and like zeitgeist or whatever. But Lunitas album artwork just sold it. Like people
Shout
just
out.
like snatched it up.
Shout out Lunitas. What a fucking genius.
And it's I love working with those guys. I love working with artists and facilitators and curators who just like get shit done as promptly as they do. Yeah. Stay tuned for that record. That's another thing. This community is like avid collectors and avid supporters of everything, and like are willing to just like drop that buck. Because like My Pet Flamingo records are like $60-$70 by the time you get it over here.
Damn.
Like shipping.
Yeah, they really got to work on like international distribution. That's the one thing I would say to Vince.
Get a U.S. distributor, maybe.
Guys, we got to get some like. We've got a lot of people in America that like to buy your stuff, and there's got to be a way to get some international distribution. That would be really cool.
More expensive because like all the wax over there it's the Adele situation over there. You know? Like,
Jesus God!
We talked about that on this show before. Oh boy. It's hard out there, man.
Hot take, yeah.
Right.
That's why, like, you just gotta like, if you're gonna put out a record, like, let's do it. Let's put in the order right now, like while we can, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming.
Very cool.
And yeah, I'm stoked. Thank you guys for having me so much.
Absolutely. It's been a treat.
Isaac, do you have any shout outs?
I have a let's see. I am playing a show in Nashville next July, opening for Will Wade's noise band, the Gallstones.
How fun!
So I'm gonna play like a deconstruct. Me too, man. I'm gonna play a deconstructed club set to open up that noise band pit. Coming up in August. Oh, it's busy. It wasn't supposed to be announced, but the Circuit Zero tour. I'm doing the Chicago date and the Lexington date. Probably playing like some bubblegum bass or maybe some like wave music. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Opening for A Hero, Simple Syrup, Van Gogh. I think Imreal and iClick are joining us in Chicago, so that's cool. I think they're joining us in Lexington too. But anyways, should be a good time. Got a set coming up where I mixed Lux's songs, The Best of Luxury Elite, courtesy of Moi. Don't have a release date on that yet. Coming soon, hopefully. Got a set coming up for the upcoming Homesick Fest. Revisited my bubblegum bass and put together a really quick one for Homesick Fest. And then another set coming out here pretty soon.
Busy right now, man.
Dude, I'm trying to grow my brand, you know. I got 100 stickers I ordered for Econ, just handing them out. If you want to donate, cool. If not, it's all right. You just put that Young Shiro sticker somewhere. Anyways, another set for an event that I don't think has been announced yet. But hint, some of them are in the chat, and I shouted out some of them earlier.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Put some deconstructed club stuff together for them. In the far-flung future, I think Ronnie and I are planning something, but I don't want to say any more about that because it's not in the stones. It's not there yet. Also not opening, but I'm involved in the Utopia District tape swap, so sharing a bill with Disco Holic, 3D Blast, some other cool people. So I'll be playing I can say it. All right, Luxury Noise. Coast to Coast Collective has an event coming up, a live stream event featuring Luxury Noise, Patch Notes, Simple Syrup, all the good ones, right? And I've got a 20-minute deconstructed club DJ set that I submitted for that, so that'll be good. I think that's in late July. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, so go for it, Chris.
Sure. I'm obviously doing one of those Circuit Zero dates as well, the Philadelphia one.
Sick.
For when those guys come around here. In addition to that, I've got remixes, which will be coming out for Be Careful and Patch Notes and the compilation I put a song out for, which you'll get more information about that soon. Also, if you want, please think about purchasing a vinyl copy of my album Glows Then Melts. It comes in two variants, a glow-in-the-dark variant and a blood splatter variant by the good people at Needle Juice Records, who put out the most fucking phenomenal releases for like layouts I've ever seen for any of these vinyl record labels. They put so much work. This Glows and Melts album is like the most beautiful vinyl I own. It's gatefold.
It really is beautiful.
It opens up. There's inserts. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, every feeling I ever felt in my 20s is on that album. It's basically a compendium of my thoughts, feelings, and journey through my 20s. If you want to know about that, listen to that album. If you want to know about my feelings about death and life and what it all means and what I think it means,
this
then
shit
you
is
can
good.
get the album I put out under the name Polymath Vampire. There's a cassette release for that on Business Casual. That's out there too. There's a link for the Glows and Melts one. There's a link for the Polymath Vampire one. The Polymath Vampire one's fun. Got a lot of collaboration. So that one, so the Glows and Melts one, that's the hypnagogic stuff. A lot of singing, a lot of pop music, a lot of interesting experimentation. And the Polymath Vampire one is the melodic ambient album, where I programmed my synthesizers and ran them, and then had some of my friends do some shoegaze guitar tones over top of it. Obviously, that includes Winter Quilt, Golden Living Room, Donor Lens, Tower of the Sun, and Hawaii 94, aka Lee from surfing. So anyway, there's that. And aside from that, my commissions are slightly closed right now. So because I'm doing the inner work right now. So I'll have some more stuff out soon. And I do apologize to Patch Notes and Be Careful, who I've been working on remixes on for the last 4 months. They are coming, and they're pretty fucking cool. And that's good for me. That's good. That's enough.
I did forget to mention I'm also opening for Aurograph at a couple dates coming up here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm DJing in between acts. We got a
Auragraph's supposed to come here to Philadelphia, and he's supposed to help me organize all my synths so I can get it set up the way that he does, where he presses one button and it goes to all his fucking shit. I don't know how that man does it, but he's
I'm gonna be opening for him.
Told me he's gonna come over here and do it
Nashville,
for me and show me the hardware I need. All right. Anything else?
Oh yeah. So the obviously the episode will be up on streaming and podcasting platforms. We want to thank all you guys for tuning in, and thank you for keeping us honest. We want to thank Persona La Ave for being here tonight, giving up their time.
What a fun
evening.
time tonight!
Really enjoyed talking with you. Persona
Really, you're
La Ave.
a fascinating man, my friend. I love
Absolutely.
it. I love hearing you talk about stuff.
Want to remind you guys, if you feel like Hot Takes is a good show and you want it to keep on keeping on, and you want to help us fund the show, you can donate via the link that I just posted. It's entirely optional, but it's very much appreciated. Trying to put a run together of Hot Take stickers to hand out at Econ. So just saying, that's probably where your money will go if you choose to generously donate. We're going to run an ad before the episode is over for the Vaporwave Up and Comers comp that was put together by Polyglot and the Wizard of Loneliness, friend of the show.
Previous guest, Wizard of Loneliness.
Yeah, so we're going to run that ad. But before that, we got a big announcement. Big guest coming on 2 weeks. Be sure to mark your calendar for July 11 at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/hottakesvapor. We got 18 Carat Affair joining us in 2 weeks. So be here.
I can't even remember the last time I've seen him do an interview.
You gotta be here. It's going to be amazing. Anyways, enough hype. Thank you guys so much. Have a lovely night, and check out the ad for the Vaporwave Up and Comers comp.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, guys.